want to accept the Moeketsi, this lovely daughter that's left a family behind, and move forward with a husband, and really treat it with love, as if it's your own child, something shouldn't go wrong. So there are two things that a mother-in-law needs to consider.
Lighten up, take me on your magic river. Tell me all your dreams align. Sign me up and tell me
Good day, I'm
about
Dr. M, and I'm a counseling psychologist. I worked in a township in the East End for 10 years, and I have a great understanding of the different cultures, and also in my practice, I've seen many couples with different cultures. So the topic that comes up over and over is that mothers-in-law causes divorce. Sadly to say, I know that mothers-in-law do not like to hear that, but the research has shown that mothers-in-law have been a cause of divorce. One thing that we need to accept and understand is that the African culture is a very good culture if it's used within the context that the ancestors had intended it to be. The problem is that sometimes it's used very lightly, and it offends others within a marriage, extended families especially. So the role that parents and mother-in-law plays is very essential. In the times of crisis or challenges, they help and they find solutions with the children, and they don't want the children to make the same mistake. So they help them. And that is so useful for the African culture. The families are extremely helpful towards each other and support each other. And they do support couples that are married. The question now is understanding what is meant by the in-law, the Moeketsi. When the Moeketsi is introduced to the family, some cultures give her a name, some don't, but she is now leaving her own culture and her own mom to be with this new mother, this mother-in-law. And the sad thing about this is when you leave your own culture and your mom and you're told that you cannot discuss your private issues with your mother no longer, you have to discuss it with your mother-in-law. But she's not receiving you as a daughter. In actual fact, a mother-in-law is supposed to receive her even in a much better way than she receives her own son and a daughter. Every pain and problem needs to be acknowledged and not be ignored when something happens in the marriage. And most of the women do say that they are not treated like a Moeketsi. They sometimes, and I know that this doesn't sound okay, and there are lovely mothers-in-law out there, but they sometimes feel that they are the domestic, a convenient domestic, to come home and do things while the sister watches and the family watches. Now, if this is not you, please don't accept it as such. I have been told that it's very hard to be a Moeketsi. There's a lot of women that said, I don't want to be a Moeketsi. It is painful. It's hard. I've been ridiculed and judged and gossiped about. So if we want to accept the Moeketsi, this lovely daughter that's left a family behind, and move forward with a husband, and really treat it with love, as if it's your own child, something shouldn't go wrong. So there are two things that a mother-in-law needs to consider even before she gets married. The African culture for many years have been collectivism, which means that they value the needs of a group and a community over an individual. that the individual needs to sacrifice for the greater good. Now the woman comes, she's been raised within an individualistic family, where they are core family, mom and dad and the children, and they do not make decisions regarding the extended family. This needs to be discussed, because if you don't chat to your daughter-in-law early before lobola, then there is going to be conflict because there's a misunderstanding. She has been raised with the parents, with only them. There wasn't black tax or responsibilities towards parents or towards other siblings. But you might find she marries someone that has those responsibilities towards parents and siblings. And she desires an individualistic marriage where we are the core family and we focus on the core. That needs to be discussed before and needs to be explained that traditionally, this is what we do. Ubuntu is we are taking care of the greater good of the family, not just one. And the son has been raised to take care of the family. He has to sacrifice for the greater good of the family. It needs to be explained before the woman gets married so that she can understand, I am marrying into this, and now I have an option. I can either decide I'm not going to marry him because I don't like the setup. But what happens is no one says anything until the lobola. After the lobola, now she's told that the eldest son has been supporting the family financially and emotionally for many years, and so you have to fall in line. That is where the conflict comes in. I heard a woman giving a talk on TikTok. You are always saying that mothers-in-law are breaking up marriages. Why are you not talking about the daughter-in-law that's keeping the son away from the mother and the sisters and brothers? It's because it has not been agreed and negotiated that this is the route we are going to take. She's thinking this is the way it should be. My mom and dad did it that way. And she's married to someone that has got a different approach. You sacrifice the individual good for the greater good of the family. I think mothers-in-law, you need to just talk a little bit more and share a little bit more of your heart and your plans, rather than now that the daughter is married and she's got my son, she needs to fall in line. And then a power game starts. Someone is going to get hurt when the power game starts, and that's going to be your son. They say the research has shown that when daughters-in-law get on well with the mothers-in-law and the other siblings before lobola and before the marriage, they actually continue in that way. But if it happens, the research shows that if there's conflict before, there is going to be conflict in the marriage. So why not start early and then just talk and sit down with the daughter? This is what we would love to do. I'm not used to this, but let us compromise then, so that she can make a decision before she gets married. So when she marries the husband, then it doesn't feel like she's walked into a trap. And now she's forced to do this role and that role and that role, which she has not negotiated. The day of lobola is a day of celebration. I know that we like to share all those things on that day, but I think it's a journey of relationship before lobola happens. I hope that this has been meaningful to you.